The plains of Ashmar stretched towards the horizon, a sea of red sand baked by the crimson sun. This sun bled into the evening sky, painting the dunes with hues of anger and despair. The air hung heavy, thick with the silence of a forgotten graveyard. Varis moved like a phantom, a wraith in the fading light. A tattered cloak, the color of dust and shadow, obscured his features. Yet beneath the rough fabric one could sense the weight of a hidden sword, a dangerous secret. The wind whispered tales of old, carrying with it the scent of death and decay. The faintest echo of steel clashing against steel reached his ears. Varis paused, his hand instinctively moving towards the hilt of his blade. His emerald eyes, vibrant even in the dimming light, scanned the dunes. They searched for the source of the disturbance. He was a predator, attuned to the slightest tremor in his domain of exile and sorrow. The whispers grew louder, no longer whispers, but the guttural roars of orcs, eager for blood. Their guttural cries sliced through the silence, a chilling symphony of impending violence. Varis felt a familiar coldness grip his heart, a coldness born of countless battles, countless betrayals. They were close. He could feel their heavy tread upon the sand, their foul stench, a mix of sweat and bloodlust, polluted the air. Varis retreated into the shadows of a broken ridge. He became one with the darkness, waiting. Memories flashed before his eyes, visions of a city bathed in golden light, a place of wonder and magic. Eldoria, his home, now just a whisper on the wind, a ghost of a memory. The prophecy echoed in his mind. The last Scion shall rise from the ashes. Wielding the power of the ancients, he shall vanquish the darkness and usher in an age of peace. A bitter laugh escaped Varis's lips. Peace. How could there be peace for one who had lost everything? 3 orcs crested the dune. They were hulking figures, clad in crude armor, their eyes burning with a primal fury. They fanned out, searching for their prey. They were unaware of the predator lurking in the shadows. With a swiftness that defied his size, Varis was upon them. His blade sang, a silver arc in the fading light. The first orc, caught off guard, crumpled to the ground, his throat opened in a spray of crimson. The other 2 orcs roared in anger and charged. Their crude axes cleaved the air where Varis had stood a moment before, but he was gone. He moved like a phantom, a blur of motion, his blade a whisper of death. Each strike was precise, deadly, severing limbs and crushing bones. The sand drank the blood, staining it a deeper shade of red. Section 4, Shades of a Fallen City. The air crackled with energy as Varis fought. His blade, no longer merely silver, pulsed with an otherworldly light. It hummed with a power that was both beautiful and terrifying. He fought with the desperation of a man possessed. The fury of a warrior who had lost everything and had nothing left to lose. Each swing of his blade was a prayer to the ghosts of Eldoria, a promise to avenge their fallen glory. The remaining orcs faltered, their bloodlust giving way to fear. They had never faced such skill, such raw power. They backed away, but Varis gave them no quarter. He moved through them like a whirlwind, his blade a conduit for the ancient magic that coursed through his veins. It was the magic of his ancestors, the magic of Eldoria, and it sang a song of death and vengeance. Section 5, The Echo of Screams. One by one the orcs fell, their bodies lay scattered upon the sand, their blood a dark offering to the dying sun. Varis stood amidst the carnage, his chest heaving, his blade dripping with blood. He closed his eyes, and for a moment he was back in Eldoria. He could hear the laughter of children playing in the streets, the music drifting from the taverns, the gentle murmur of the river flowing through the heart of the city. Then the screams began. The screams of his people as the orcs stormed the city gates, the roar of flames as they engulfed the buildings, the sickening crunch of steel piercing flesh. He could taste the ashes in his mouth, feel the heat of the inferno searing his skin. The memory was vivid, agonizing. It was a wound that refused to heal, a constant reminder of his failure. He had failed to protect his city, his people. He was the last Scion, and he had failed. Section 6, A Blade That Drinks the Light. Varis opened his eyes. The sun had vanished below the horizon, leaving the sky a bruised purple. The stars, distant and cold, began to appear, casting a pale light upon the desolate landscape. He needed to move. The orcs would not be the last. They were but a prelude to the darkness that was descending upon the land. He retrieved his cloak, the rough fabric offering little comfort against the chill night air. As he did so, his gaze fell upon his blade. It no longer pulsed with the light of magic. It was as if it had absorbed the energy of the fallen orcs, their life force now a part of its being. The blade was more than just a weapon. It was an extension of himself, a conduit for the ancient magic that flowed through his veins. It was a legacy passed down through generations of elven blade masters, a symbol of their power and their responsibility to protect the world from the forces of darkness. Varis sheathed his blade, the familiar weight a reassuring presence at his side. He was alone, a solitary figure in a world consumed by shadows, but he was not broken. He was the last Scion, and he would not yield to despair. He would find a way to fulfill the prophecy, even if it meant sacrificing everything he had left.